structure in biology. In a way, so it's a great contribution of physics to medicine. But anyway, it is not limited actually chemistry and life sciences. Even geology and sometimes metallurgy. In fact, X-ray crystallography was mostly developed by geologists and metallurgy people. But now, anyway, it is mostly useful in chemistry and biology. Actually, what is this? Basically, I'm going to tell you one thing. So here, you could see something here, right? It's called a spanner, and you know what it is for, right? Basically, it fits here so that it can be used to tighten it or do it, whatever it is. But if you look into this very clearly, it requires something. For example, this is a spanner, but this is actual portion which perform the function, whereas this is, or this arm is useful to handle it, so that will be user friendly. And if I call this as a molecule, so this is a whole molecule, and this is the portion where exactly the function happens. So it is called as active site or catalytic site in the case of proteins, but generally it is a functional site, we can say. And this is the portion which is called a structural component. So without this, will it work? Of course it will work, but it's very difficult to handle this. So this is the whole molecule, and this is active site or functional site or catalytic site, and this is the structural portion to keep this in a particular digital conformation. Okay, now, so by what happened actually, we understood what is this, and then we understood how it works, and understanding these two components, we developed this stuff. Here, what is the actual advancement here? Here in this case, both shape as well as size should be compatible, then only it will work. And then, by understanding this concept, we have developed this one, and then here, basically only the size is important, shape, whatsoever the shape, it will be fitting into that, so that here it has been generated, right? We call it as next generation. And then later on, here also some more advancements. Now we have arrived this one, here you could see what happens here, even size as well as shape can be adjusted. You cannot optimize that object, but you can optimize this in such a way it can fit in varieties of shapes, of course within some limitations. And of course the structure also. And similarly these three things. They are similar in a way, of course they are dissimilar. This can, for example, what it's supposed to do, it can work, but we have optimized in such a way to apply for a specific functions, right? So basically we understand the structure, now we apply to function, and then how the structure helps this function, then we develop next and next and next, of course, and here also the same way, right? For example, these things, all the negatives, but if there are differences, there are similarities. Similarly here, yeah, this is called a structure-activity relationship. So what we do, actually we take a structure and then we see the function. Now we understand, oh, this is a structure which performs this function. And obviously what is our conclusion? To perform a particular function, we need this particular structure. That's what. So the optimizer back and forth we work, and then we get this kind of advancement. So this is called structure-activity relationship or structure-function correlation. And then where it works, that I told you already. Every structure, be it a small chemical compound, right? CH3, CH2OH, it is alcohol, right? CH3O, CH3, same formula, but different structure. When the structure changes, obviously the function also changes. Yes. So that's what it is. So that's what our area is. Any crystallographer, we try to find the structure, and then in collaboration with or ourselves, we understand the function. Then we try to establish this relationship. That's the whole idea. And then what we see here are proteins, right? Proteins are made up of amino acids, Anyway, I am not going into detail about these things. Amino acids, one amino acid. Amino acid is it's a carbon connected with one side is amino group, other side is a carboxylic acid group, right? And then this amino acid reacts with another amino acid to get two amino acids together, and then third one, and then fourth one, and then fifth one, and then sixth one. So you go on, add amino acid one by one, you will have a lengthy chain of polypeptide. And then if it is a lengthy chain, most of the time is no use. It is just a chain. For example, take egg, right? Egg is functional one, right? It has a life in it, right? But anyway, you break it and make it omelette, all functionalities are gone. Proteins are still there, right? Egg contains lot of proteins. All the proteins are now, it is still present, but it cannot be functional anymore. Why? Because the structure is collapsed, because we cooked it. So by the way, the structure is lost. So what happened? Which are also lost? Function also lost. So that's the purpose. So what does it mean? Any polypeptide is a linear chain, whereas a linear chain is no use, right? It's just a lengthy chain, but it actually folds. right? By some. Okay, it has a particular shape. Why it is happening? Because lengthy chain is most of the no use. It takes up a bend, and then now it is folded to arrive at a three-dimensional structure. Now arriving at a three-dimensional structure, now it is ready to perform the function. The moment you collapse the structure, function is lost. And then here, all are polypeptides only, right? But each one is having a different name because each one is, all are polypeptides, all are proteins only. But each one specialized with a particular function, right? This function, where this comes? When it has a three-dimensional structure. So that's the idea. So what we do is to determine the three-dimensional structure of any given molecule. So, a biochemist, a microbiologist, molecular biologist, a chemist, a pharmacology person, right? Or even plant science people, they purify some compounds, and then they say, okay, I have purified a compound from a plant, now it shows anti-cancer activity. Right? Now say Dudodai is good for tuberculosis, and then we say curcumin, manjad is good for cancer, and so on. Right? Why? Because this all contains molecules. These molecules interact with the bigger molecules, right? When we treat the patient, where we treat? We treat the life. Means we treat, maybe we treat a protein or DNA or whatsoever. It's actually what is called molecular interaction. Right? A molecule from a plant is interacting with a molecule of an human to get relief from a particular disease. Or a molecule from a plant, right, reacts with the molecule of a bacteria and kills it. Whatsoever. This is a life science problem, right? For life science phenomena. But actually what is underneath is molecule interaction. That's simple as that. Everything is made up of molecules. So molecule interact, they make wonders, right? So, so we can understand function by doing different types of assays. Or, for example, that's what I said. A compound has been purified from a plant, and then it has been tested with some animal model, and then the point is, okay, it is showing anti-cancer activity. Now our purpose is, we understand what function as anti-cancer, how it works. And then as I already told you, it is molecule. So our purpose is, understand the molecule of this plant product, at the same time understand the structure of this plant product, understand the structure of the protein which present in the human. Now we can explain, this how it works. What is the use? Once we understand the phenomena, how this structure looks like, upon addition or upon interaction, what happens, then what is the use? We can optimize, right? We can optimize the molecule so that we can have enhanced activity. Am I right or not? Sometimes, for example, very simple. A particular plant, and then from that plant I have purified a compound. And then this particular compound, chemical compound, is working against dengue virus, let's say. So that it is an anti-dengue compound, right? Okay. Then what is the next step? Then we have to treat the patient with the same compound. Then what to do with that? Then you have to cut lots and lots of tree of particular plant. Then what will happen? Soon it will be extinguished. So, by understanding the structure, immediately what is the next step? How can we synthesize this compound in a laboratory so that this environmental problem cannot rise? Am I right or not? Yes? Yes. So our point is get the structure, understand the structure. Then we can ask a chemist to help us so that he can synthesize the compound in the laboratory so that we can produce this in larger quantity so that a larger population of diseased population can be treated with this. By the way, we can prevent the environmental disaster also. That's the purpose. And then that's how there is an important field called tissue culture. Right? Sometimes some compounds, right, say difficult in synthesize in the laboratory, then alternate what molecular biologists and plant scientists they try to have tissue culture in the lab, right? Instead of growing in a big tree in a forest, it will take time. Instead of that, they try to do the tissue culture in the small laboratory so that the space problem will be overcome. At the same time, you can produce that particular organ or that particular tissue or that particular compound can be overexpressed, which will be useful for production of the compound. So that's the idea. So see that each one, all are made up of 20 amino acids. All are lengthy. It has been produced as a lengthy chain, and then it has been folded, but in different manner. For example, here the folding is different, whereas here the folding is different. Here different. Right? Sometimes, for example, here. So this particular stuff is very interesting stuff here. So you could see it's not a single. We look it very clearly. Sorry, Actually, this is one unit, this is another unit, this is another, this. So totally there are 6 units. For example, simply, this is called Gunasekaran. Okay, Gunasekaran 1, Gunasekaran 2, Gunasekaran 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Gunasekarans together comes like hold. So the next Gunasekaran, next Gunasekaran, next Gunasekaran, we make a wheel. It's a kind of compound, right? So 6 Gunasekarans separate, but somehow they associate with one another. In a way, we form a ring structure, right? Why this ring structure now? Okay, I'll tell you what is this function, then you will know what it is. This is called a DNA helicase. You all know DNA. What is DNA? DNA is a 2 chains, right? 2 nucleotides just bend like this, then it form a coil, right? You all know this. Double helical structure of DNA. So DNA is like this, right? And then we all know cells multiply. That's how we grow. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. So cell multiplication starts from DNA multiplication. How is DNA look like? I told you DNA is like this. You know what happens? First step is this DNA has to be separated like this. Now there is a left hand, there is a right hand. Another machinery comes, it makes a left hand for this right hand, a right hand for this left hand. Now we have 2 sets. Am I right?
Yes.
Then further division. So division and then making. Division and making. By the way, we make many copies of DNA and then slowly cells also multiply. That's the fundamental first step. Let's say, so this particular structure, this is called DNA helicase. I told you this is 6 units together of the hexameric structure. That's the purpose. For example, what happens here? So what happens here is, for example, DNA is like this, right? And then somehow DNA is exactly like this. And then somehow one machinery, I forgot, I'm skipping that. One particular protein comes and makes this particular unit left. So now it is nicked DNA, right? There's an extension. Now what happens? This ring comes and sits here. This ring comes and sits here, right? What happens? Then when it sits, and then it will separate this. And then it move on, separates, move on, separates. It just move on. For moving, so this hexameric structure has to move like this. Next unit will cut. Next Gunasekaran will cut. The another Gunasekaran moves. Next. So what happens because of this? The whole DNA will be stripped off. It's called unzipping the DNA. It's called unzip. Previously it was like this. Now it is slowly. Actually, you know what? So this ring rotates along the DNA. By the way, it unzips. You know what? 10,000 RPM. Just imagine such a high speed. It moves very fast so that the DNA can be unzipped very easily. And why it is possible? How it is possible? Because of this structure only. Right? For example, you can have a knife, let's say. You can have a knife. Okay, but one. Right? Knife, the knife orientation has to be changed and then cut. Knife orientation has to be changed and then cut. Instead of doing this, it has its own machinery, right? So 6 knives together cut, arranged in such a way. So break next. Not only that, for moving, it needs energy, right? So each unit has 2 different things. One is has the capacity to separate these 2 bases. Forget about that. To cut, right? It has the capacity to cut. At the same time, it has an energy generation capacity so that this will move to the next and the next will come into place. Okay, all these things are how it is possible because of 2 things. First of all, this has a particular folding pattern. In addition to that, this has the capacity to have this hexameric conformation. Because of this particular orientation, only it performs the function which is supposed to be happening, right? So this becomes the fundamental of any biological, not only biological, any system. For example, chair, right? So this is the chair, right? Now we know the structure, and then okay, this is the structure and this is the function, right? By understanding this structure and function, later on for a old man, we move some easy chair, right? At the same time, I can put it like this, and then I have some more, this side, and then sometimes bend, whatsoever. But all this possible by understanding the structure and function. This is true not only for the objects, but every simple molecules. Okay. So that's what. And then I'm not going to detail about the functions, but anyway, that's what I told you. Once the structure of the protein is understood, then we understand the catalytic side. That's what I told you. The spanner, a small portion which is the actual functional form. So this is a whole spanner and this is actual functional form. So if I want to close this, I'll put a proper nut in this. Right? By understanding the shape and the structure, I can select the important nut so that I can place it so that the function of this protein can be stopped at once. For example, I have been invaded by a bacteria and then it goes in and then it bothers me a lot. Now I have to take a medicine. That medicine has to go inside me, but it should not affect me. It should directly go to the bacteria and then it should bind it. Am I right or not? Yes?
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So, particularly, very specifically, very selectively, I have to select a nut which can go into my body. My body has many spanners, many proteins, but each one has its own active site. So I have to design in such a way that molecule goes inside, and there are many human proteins. No. It should not fit anyway. And then there is a bacterial protein goes and sits there so that the functionality of this bacterial protein is stopped so that the bacteria can be killed. It can be extrapolated whatsoever you want. But anyway, that is a fundamental thing is structure, function, relations has to be understood. Oh, okay, now I'm not going to deal with the different types of proteins, they perform different things. Now we want to see the structure of the molecule. Am I right or not? I have a compound. Now I have to find out the structure of the compound. That's what it is. So we want to see the structure. And then there are to see how to see the structure. Okay, seeing is very important. I'll tell you. What is seeing? If I say I see you, I saw you, right? The statement is totally wrong. I never see you. If I can see you, if I can be, right? If I can see you, I should be able to see you in the dark also. Am I right or not? But I don't see you. I don't see the dark. Means what? Means I never see you. I saw the light scattered by you. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Yeah, otherwise, no. That's what the statement is. In the night times, I will not be able to see because no light falling on you, so you don't scatter, so I don't see. So I never see you. I see you, the scattering pattern by you, so that I see, okay, this is Gunasekaran, okay, this is chair, this is bottle, this is camera, whatsoever. Because we are recognizing only the scattering pattern, not the object. Never. So, if I see, okay, I want visual evidence. I want to see everything directly. Nonsense, we never see anything. Always the seeing is also indirect only. Never it's a direct process. So here also, when I say see a molecule, is obviously going to be a indirect way of understanding the structure. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Because physically I don't see you. That means I will not be able to see even a bacteria on the microscope. Now we see microscope. So how? Take a bacteria or whatever and then stick it on a plate, put it there and then illuminate it. And then we see only the reflection pattern or the scattering pattern will be recognized. That's what we call it as I saw, I see. It is totally wrong. Right. Anyway, so when I want to see the molecule, that means spectroscopy, microscopy, there are different techniques. Fine. Now, I'll tell you one thing now. Okay, am I transparent or opaque?
Opaque.
Opaque, right? I am transparent in another condition. Wait. In some other condition, I will be transparent. Using what rays? X-rays, right? Right? I'm opaque now for the visible radiation. Whereas in the X-rays, I'm also transparent. But my bones are opaque, so that you could see the shadow. But I become. So this also is a relative terminology, right? No, nothing is opaque completely. Nothing is transparent. It is always depends on the radiation what we use. Basically. Okay, what is opaque and what is transparent? Why glass is transparent whereas wood is opaque? Glass is transparent, right? Whereas
the light can pass through.
Light can pass through. That's why it is called a transparent, right? Okay, it's not. It is telling the meaning. Correct? It's the meaning of what is transparency. Anyway, okay, simply, what happens is, okay, if I put this fellow in a heavy forest, okay, let me take this fellow in a forest, right? Let him be there for 10 days. So damn hungry. Nothing is there to eat. No fruits, nothing. Don't think it's like a paradise. It's a damn very jungle. Nothing is eatable is available. So he is very deadly hungry. At that time, I am giving two offers to you, right? You are very, very, very hungry. If you didn't eat it, if you cannot get anything, maybe in another 10 minutes you will die. That's the situation, right? There are two offers. Okay, take this. This contains 2 lakh rupees. Of course, new 2000 currency. Don't worry about the old one. It is new, so 2 lakhs rupees. And then here 2 idlis and chutney. Which will you take? Right? So that's what it is. So what is transparency? What is opaque means? What is the need? What is the supply? If I need something, if you apply the same thing to me, I will eat it. Otherwise, the option will be transparent. So the energy required by a glass at a particular condition, right, is not when visible radiation falls on the glass. The energy of the visible radiation is not at all in the interested range of glass. Then what happens? The moment it falls, the option will be sent out. So it's a transparent. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Correct. So glass is transparent. Glass is transparent. Wood is opaque. Right? With relevance to visible radiation. Maybe some other radiation, maybe even wood or wall may be transparent. Am I right or not?
Yes.
So it's a related terminology. Okay. So now, forget about this. Okay, I will not go here. And then there are some spectroscopic techniques which are useful. Are you familiar to some extent at least with the spectroscopy? Okay. Forget about it. Okay. In X-ray crystallography, what we see? X-ray crystallography, there are many techniques. For example, microscopy can be useful to see something, but not at the molecular level. Molecules are so small, then cannot be magnified. And maybe a bacteria you can see, right? Maybe a single cell can be seen by a microscope, right? For example, if you use some other advanced microscope like electron microscope, you will be able to see the structure of even a cell or something, very fine details, but not at the molecular level. What is molecule? Molecule is made up of atoms. So an atom here, an atom here, an atom here. So these are connectivity, right? Suppose an atom here, an atom here, an atom here. So it goes like this and then connected here. And then one more atom this way, another atom this way, another atom this way, another atom this way, maybe. Or first atom, second atom, third atom, fourth atom, fifth atom, sixth atom, back to connection like benzene ring. Right? So what is structure means? It is the positional arrangement of atoms. Right? So what we get, X, Y, Z of each and every atom in space. That's called as structure. Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
No? Don't agree with me? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Right. So to understand this positional arrangement of atoms in a given molecule, we use X-ray crystallography, and X-ray crystallography is the only tool to determine the three-dimensional structure of any molecule, be it small, medium, or macro-like proteins. Okay, and then the only problem or bottleneck I'll say is you have to crystallize, right? You have purify. For example, this solution contains a pure compound. Right? For example, sugar. Right? We will give you sugar solution. Right? You go on, add some more sugar, some more sugar, some more. At particular level, it won't get any more dissolved. Right? The solubility level is reached. Now it is completely supersaturated, or saturated. Right? If you add some more, it will not get dissolved. Right? You keep it. What happens? Slowly, when water evaporates, it will become crystallized. Am I right or not? Maybe this is a simple case, but there are many compounds. They will resist crystallization, or they will crystallize only at certain conditions. So you have to play around very different conditions to crystallize. But once you crystallize, then it is easy to get the structure using a tool called X-ray crystallography. And X-ray crystallography, okay, X-ray crystallography is the only tool to develop the three-dimensional structure. Finished. Now, we have to crystallize. Finished. Now, okay, what is the fundamental aspect we use for this is called diffraction. Right? X-ray, in this case, X-ray diffraction, but diffraction is a general phenomenon. Okay. Okay, so this is what the structure means, right? So a carbon atom is arranged this way, and then there is a nitrogen, and then there is a nitrogen here, and then a CO, oxygen, and then so this is what the total structure of a particular compound, right? So this is the output of X-ray crystallography, and then as I said, it's not a single molecule, right? We take and then crystallize it. A crystal can contain maybe hundreds of molecules in it, but X-ray crystallography, there are two things we have to understand. For example, X-ray tells you a very simple thing. In this room, there are some arrangements, right? Right? If I ask you to go and sit, first one thing, what is crystal? Crystal always refers to purity, right? In this classroom, there are 100 students. All 100 students are Gunasekaran. That's called as crystal, right? Because all are Gunasekaran only. This whole crystal contains Gunasekaran. Because in the solution, what it was taken? Sugar, right? For example, glucose. So the glucose solution gives you crystal. The crystal contains what? Only glucose molecules. Am I right or not? Yes or no? Right. So many glucose molecules are switched in arranged fashion to get the crystal. That's what here it is. The molecular structure is this. The structure is this. Right? The structure actually arranged in the crystal like this. It is not the whole crystal. It is not the whole crystal. It is called as unit cell. It is called as unit cell, smallest bit. For example, a brick in a building, a brick, and then next brick, next brick, next brick, next brick. You just build a three-dimensional fashion. So this is called unit cell. And then now how you see the molecules are arranged. This is extended toward this direction, and then this direction, as well as this direction. So it's a whole big crystal. In the crystal, the molecules are arranged only this way. Fine. Now, actually, so the crystal, so yeah, this is what? A molecule is actually arranged in a particular fashion, which is called unit cell, which is multiplied with bigger crystal. So in a crystal, there could be 1 lakh compounds. But all 1 lakh are Gunasekaran only. Or 1 lakh glucose only, right? So that's what the crystal is. And then, what is the, I'll tell you one thing. Okay, in a ray, I place this. What do you see? Shadow, right? Yes or no? Because this is completely opaque. So we have the shadow. And then this is partially transparent. Let's say transparent. Then what happens here? Okay, not very clear. If it is very clear, what do you see? For example. Okay. Oh, this will be easy. See that? What do you see there? We see, so in this portion is transparent. There what we see is the only layer, very slight, correct? So this is opaque. This is completely opaque. This is transparent. Am I right? So if it is opaque, it will look like this. And then if it is transparent, then you will have a slight shadow. Whereas it will look like a transparent one. And then what happened? X-rays were discovered. And then people called us X-rays because there is not much character, so it was called as X-rays. And then when something is newly discovered, what we'll do? A merchant, for example, a tailor, he will use, how can I use this tool for my tailoring purpose? Right? So say for example an electrician, he will think, how can I use this for my electrician purpose? And then if I am a part maker, he will think, okay, can I use X-rays in part making? Right? Like that, and many people are trying for different types of, they were trying testing X-rays for their own applications. One day, what happened? Someone, I don't want to even tell the name, someone, he placed the crystal along the X-rays. But one thing is not like put a molecule here, immediately you can see the shadow. In X-rays, what we'll do? What we'll do? We put the object and then we take a photographic film and then put it in the cassette. We'll go and put it in the behind. Am I right or not? Have you ever seen the X-rays? Yes. So we'll shoot it out and then they take to the dark room, they develop it, they bring it back. Am I right? Yes or no? Yes. So he took the film, he went to the dark room, he developed, he came back. He was expecting two things. What? He was expecting for crystals will be opaque with the X-rays. Then he was expecting this. If it is transparent, he was expecting this. But unfortunately or fortunately, he found not both, neither is not this. But he found there are some rings. There is a shadow rings or some types of sparks. Then it was decided like, okay, it is not even absorbing completely or it is not completely transparent, but it is doing diffraction. I'll tell you what is diffraction, I will finish it now. Oh my God, you see that? Okay. So, I'll tell you what is X-ray, only Braggs law, and I'll stop there. Very simple. For example, okay, in this classroom, I'm walking inside to talk to you, right? Yes. For example, here, this is the thickness. So, this is the gap. I am this much thin. So that what happens? I can easily, freely move inside without interacting this side. Am I right? Yes or no? Yeah. If it's too big, for example, if I'm too big, I cannot even enter into this. I'm stuck. Right? I cannot even enter into this. Now, okay, this shape, this distance, and then mine is approximately correlating. Then what will happen? I will go, but not freely, but there are chances of hitting the sides. Am I right? Am I right or not?
Yes,
there is a chance of hitting. Now, Now I am talking about two conditions. Condition number one is this distance. Second one is my thickness. Right? These two, when it get almost same, then there is a chance of hitting these two sides. Now, I am introducing the third one. I am not entering directly, whereas I am entering into this with this angle. Now what happens? Let's see. There is a chance of, right? I will hit here. Because of what will happen? I will take the deflected direction. Right? I will move this way. So now there are three things. For example, in this equation, Bragg's law. Now it tells you n lambda, which is the wavelength, right? Wavelength of a radiation. D is this gap. Theta is the entering. Am I right? Is that clear? Yes or no? Yes? Yes. So what happens in crystal, so for example, X-rays are just entering in a particular angle, let's say. Then when it goes in, of course it can interact or it can touch and then get deflected by the atom, because atoms are containing electron, right? It's electron, it's not a single electron, it's just electron cloud. So that it hits and then takes up a turn, right? For example, what happens here is, so I hit and then takes this turn. Now, this is very important thing. When I am entering, for example, now there are two things. All are Gunasekarans, right? They are all arranged in a particular fashion. And now, I am taking a photograph from here. Okay, I am taking a photograph here, and then I am developing the photograph, and I see first this row is seen, next row is not seen, next row is seen, next row is not seen, next row is seen, next row is not seen. Okay? You got my point? You know what? Why that is happening? Why that is happening? That when I am entering the light in this direction, at this theta, at this wavelength, only these distances matches with this equation. That's why that gives you the information. Got my point or not? Yes?
Yes, sir.
You are always available, you are always existing. But one thing, you are all existing in one particular symmetrical fashion. At this theta, with this particular light, only the distance between this row and this row and this row satisfies this equation. That's why I am getting information about this row, that row, and that row. Now, I am taking another picture from here. What happens now? Now in this direction, in this theta, first this row is seen. No. This row is seen. No. This row is seen. Right? And then with some other. So what happens basically? I have to take different pictures around you varying theta. At every theta, some planes will give you diffraction. Means these planes will give you information. Now what happens? So if I want complete picture, I will take all the direction photographs, then I combine, then I get the complete structure of this class. Then from that, I know what is structure of this particular part. Because only one good is repetition, right? Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
So Bragg's law is that simple. Okay, I'll tell you what is in one word. What is crystallography? Crystallography is seeing what is inside the crystal without cutting the crystal. No, we cut the crystal with Bragg's law. Thank you so much. It's a fantastic field.
Accuracy of very slim structure. I think now the forum is open for questions. And some of you have questions to address to Gunasekaran. Very lively, fantastic lecture, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Students are very, very gifted to have you here today. Any questions? Almost clear on what Gunasekaran said. Indeed, it was very clear. Sir, there is a question here. Yes.
This field has a lot of potentiality to win Nobel Prize. I think more than 30 prizes were given in this particular area. I want to know what is the area it is covering. Generally, the 30 Nobel Prize, what are the various areas covered in this contribution, like their contribution?
Sir, actually, crystallography, of course, this is one of the which many Nobel Prize been awarded, that's true. But in various fields like chemistry, biology, medicine, life science, I mean, many different fields. The thing is, actually, when we say the 30 Nobel Prizes, it's not only the crystallography, even X-rays. Right? X-ray you say just, and then structural, but in one way or other, the use of crystallography is very limited. I mean, X-ray crystallography, we are talking about single crystal X-ray diffraction studies, what we are doing here. And then, if you ask me a general question, X-ray crystallography always deal with only structure. And then, among the 30 Nobel Prizes, I'm sure not more than 12 or 13 for this particular structure determination, remaining will all use of X-rays or X-ray diffraction, but not towards structural studies, but some other field, mostly in medicine. Medicine, physics, chemistry, geology, even there are some in California in stone. They are called Vishnu patterns. Some old rocks which are 5 million or 6 million years back is existing. See, those structures are also derived by using X-ray crystallography. Not at the completely electronic level, not at the atomic level, but the pattern level. So basically, it's a small technique, but applicable to many fields. It is up to you how you are going to use.
Yeah, you have a question, ma'am. Yes.
How about its uses in medicine, like either with the drug formation or drug interaction with the molecules, or the structure of the proteins, like that?
Yes, it is okay. Once again, the same answer is same. We understand the protein structure. Some corner of the world, they understand the structure of a particular protein. And then later on, somebody from molecular biology says, this is the protein responsible for leukemia. Let's say, immediately, since the structure is known, or structure will be determined by a crystallography. So crystallography job is done, finished. Somebody says, okay, protein X, for example, CA19.9 is an antigen, which is important for pancreatic cancer, let's say. When such discovery from molecular biology or maybe from pathology, immediately a protein chemist will be interested in finding the structure, right? So he will purify the protein. The moment he gives to me, I will crystallize it, will give the structure. My job is over. I find the structure, I give it back to you. Then you take the structure, maybe a bioinformatics or a chemistry or pharmacology, he will come and then he will design a small molecule which can fit here. So basically it is a part of structure designing, which we call as structure-based drug designing. Not only that, sometimes even without SPDD, structure-based drug designing, somebody say, okay, I have purified a compound from so and so plant, and then it works against the particular cancer. That's what I said, cancer or leukemia, or maybe even it is useful to control the BP. Right? So structure has to be understood. Then the function is known. Now I try to understand the structure-function correlation. My job is over.
Any other question, please? If there are no questions, I request once again all of you to give a big applause to Sir, we express our profound gratitude.
Something like that. I'm taking class now. I'm supposed to be in a classroom. I cut to the permission from you. Right? Cut to the Kaimund. Anyway, I'm undergoing 21 days theoretical physics classes. It's too hard for me from yesterday. But anyway, learning is always happened to me. Right? Thank you so much for your opportunity. And then.
And now we are breaking for tea. Please, you have only 10 minutes for tea break because we are running behind the time schedule. There are so many programs.